Terror and triggers. I woke up this morning to Dan Crenshaw's Instagram talking about how he has noticed these black spots in his one not so good eye. How he was taken to emergency surgery for a detaching retina. An injury that they feared might be a future problem due to the impact from the blast. Well, guess what? I've noticed those black spots as well. But of course, I've been too consumed with terror and trauma to care about that. Then, in addition, I've had the annoyance of this situation that you can see all about it in my previous videos, how this has impacted and triggered me severely. You see, this is what the country looks like all over the place. This is what it looks like. It's not only the people's homelands, the people's stores, the people's businesses that have been closed that is causing a tremendous amount of trauma. It's the people that have relatives that have died from COVID. It's the people who have been traumatized by the black people, belligerent black bullies in the streets who have terrorized them. And then you have this innocent worker. You see this guy down here? He's been banging all morning, and it's been triggering me terribly. So this is how this CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, it really needs to be called a disease. It's not a disorder. It's a disease. And this is why we are in a very dangerous situation in our country. Because this guy that we're looking at here is perfectly innocent. These people in this house who were belligerent bullies to me, an innocent victim, they're not so innocent, but certainly their world has just become a bit more dangerous as well. So in order not to terrorize this little worker guy as he sees that I'm doing a video, I'm going to go ahead and continue this inside. So here we are in the front yard. So this is why our country is in such a dangerous situation, because there are not only the documented 500,000 people who have relatives that are traumatized, there are unknown hundreds of thousands of others who have had relatives that have died due to other disease states. There are people like me who lost their father and then whose mother got COVID, and the aftermath of the resulting deterioration of her Alzheimer's has rendered her virtually no longer here either. Biologically, yes, and that's nearly it. So there's those of us that have a lot of hard feelings about all of the people, all of the politicians that have continued this crisis. And now the bickering continues. And now the Democrats and the dumb Democrats and the BLMs, as I call them, they're continuing. That's why this George Floyd trial is a dumbass idea. It is driving the divide. It is inciting the hate. And worse, it looks like a modern day white man lynching. The black people and the liberals are lynching the white policemen. And that, while you black people and liberals are dancing in the streets, is going to have devastating consequences. You tried to make the Capitol into this insurrection. How dare you? You tried so hard to scrape together one death. Not to mention, of course, that we heard nothing about the death or any investigation of the woman who got shot. We haven't heard anything about that. There was no investigation. There's no one even calling for an investigation as far as the media is concerned. Time after time, we saw Ben Crump. Ben Crump is the blacks' equivalent to Trump. And that's why Ben Crump needs to be investigated, because he is the one that perpetuated all of this. This sort of worldwide mega media display doesn't happen by itself. Do you think Floyd's bumbling idiot few family members that they could possibly manage to string together would be able to put together any of all of this? Hell no. Ben Crump was behind this with his multi-million-dollar greedy agenda, and man, has it paid off. He did the same thing as Trump. He incited all this. He coordinated all these media plans. He was the one that got all of this media coverage, and he blew it up, and he stranded together a few other family member black people that could try to make a big deal about in the midst of a pandemic. And boy, has he made out. He takes in 1/3 of his winnings We don't need to get any further into it than to summarize the Breonna Taylor's $12 million record settlement for a bullet that flew through an apartment building after the police were shot at. They didn't know what color she was. But there goes Ben Crump. While all the black people are supposedly financially in such hardship, Ben Crump walks away with $4 million. And I can barely even utter the words. $27 million settlement. Another $8+ million for boohoo Ben Crump. The uneven application of the rule of law is what causes hate. And these sorts of lynchings, these sorts of political parades is what causes the people to hate. Which is why my case and Ben Crump, BLM, Dems need to be investigated. It's the only chance this country has. We need to see this, quote, justice equally applied, and politics needs to back off and back away from what the rule of law needs to be front and center. Corrupt Crump politicians like prosecutors and any other people that want to exploit either our homeland or our innocent victims in our homes, domestic violence, domestic terror, domestic violence, it all needs to be eradicated. Otherwise, this is going to continue to get unimaginably worse.